Think I'm funny?
I was with a little person before.
Who?
Nah, not like that.
Who?
Not like that.
Was it a girl or a guy? What?
Also, speaking of Blueface, all this chit chat got me thinking about that time I posted these pics on Instagram a couple months ago. Check the material. Very much she a baddie, she knows she a 10, she a baddie with her baddie friends. Why did this happen after? I wasn't gonna go.
Are you gay?
No. What the are you talking about? Come on, here, give it to me.
She good. Get her butter from her.
Wait,
Hey,
what?
guys. He's not gay.
The streets lit up fast when an ex-convict stepped back into the spotlight, dropping a wild storyline about Blueface that had everybody scrambling for answers. It wasn't the first time somebody tried to stir the pot with a per-son partner allegation, but this time the delivery hit different. The way the rumor landed was sharp, strategic, and exactly tailored to trigger social chatter. One moment the timeline was quiet, the next it was on fire with clips, quotes, and people acting like they witnessed the situation firsthand. That's the thing about stories that come from the yard. They carry a certain tone, a certain texture, a certain confidence. And when someone presents themselves as a person with real inside knowledge, the crowd eats it up like gospel. The ex-convict painted himself as a man who watched everything go down, talking in riddles and half sentences, letting the public fill the gaps how they wanted. Those gaps turned into headlines. Those headlines turned into podcasts. And soon, this one claim wasn't just a stray rumor. It became the centerpiece for another round of Blueface chaos. The situation picked up extra energy because Blueface's name already stays in rotation. His personal life, his public clashes, his relationships, his nonstop drama. The culture has seen him in situations that feel like they're pulled straight from a reality show that never got an off switch. So when this ex-convict stepped up with his version of events, people found it way too easy to believe something explosive without proof. The rumor dropped right when Blueface was already being watched under a microscope, dealing with legal noise, relationship tension, and nonstop conversations about who he really is behind closed doors.
Butt now. He don't like no more. He likes butt. And I've honestly always thought that Blueface swung for the other team simply because of his hatred for women. I just always felt like Blueface, when given the opportunity, he was gonna take some ass. They're more loyal.
Timing is everything, and this man delivered his story with flawless timing. But the part that really sent the internet spiraling wasn't only the allegation itself, it was the confidence behind it. He spoke like he was giving a documentary interview, like he was reliving moments the public had no access to. He used coded talk about yard politics, implied that certain behaviors get assigned, and hinted at Blueface being in a vulnerable place at the wrong time. That coded talk is what amplified the storm. Online audiences tend to treat any prison-related story as truth the second someone speaks with authority. And because Blueface moves with a bold, brash personality, people love anything that flips that image upside down. The public didn't stop to evaluate credibility. They didn't look at the man's past inconsistencies. They didn't question how often people attach themselves to celebrity names for clout. Instead, everybody rushed to repeat it, remix it, and escalate it. Suddenly, the ex-convict wasn't just another guy with a story. He became the spark that pushed Blueface back into yet another social media whirlwind. And once that whirlwind forms, it usually doesn't calm down until someone steps forward with force. That force wasn't coming just yet, which meant the rumor kept growing with every share, every live stream, and every creator looking for a storyline. Blueface's name was everywhere again, and not for anything he controlled. As the rumor spread, creators across every platform started stitching, clipping, and breaking down the ex-convict's claims like they were examining rare evidence.
You got the lubricant?
Who the fuck is lubricant, baby? You know this one for the water fire.
What if I want to go in the buttocks?
Yeah.
Hey, you with it, huh?
Is it kind of weird that the first day out of prison, Blueface is suggesting some type of action to his woman? Or Do you guys think that this is just normal behavior for them, and that is what he was doing before he...
Some pretended to be experts in yard culture. Others acted like they personally interviewed guards. And a few simply exaggerated the rumors until they turned into new storylines altogether. That's one of the things that keeps celebrity rumors alive, the remix culture. One vague claim becomes 10 versions, and 10 versions turn into a full-blown narrative that feels too detailed not to be true. Comment sections became battlegrounds where people drew their own conclusions, with some laughing it off and others insisting that too many people are saying the same thing for it to be fake. But in reality, the only reason many were repeating it was because the echo chamber had grown so loud, it became its own proof. The ex-convict, sensing the momentum behind his claims, started participating even more, hopping into interviews, dropping extra lines, and making it seem like he had a catalog of inside stories waiting to be told. His confidence grew with every repost, every reaction, every creator using his name for views. He wasn't just sharing anymore, he was performing. And the more he performed, the less people cared about whether the story made sense. They were entertained, and entertainment always wins over truth in situations like this. If a story goes viral, it becomes part of public perception, whether the facts match up or not. Meanwhile, Blueface wasn't even in position to shut anything down quickly. His legal issues kept him away from social media for long stretches, leaving the rumor machine free to paint whatever story they wanted. When an artist with a big personality suddenly goes silent, the silence itself becomes fuel. People start assuming the worst, assuming the silence means guilt, and assuming every small detail is a clue. The absence of a response made the ex-convict's words seem louder and more believable simply because nobody was countering them. Creators began connecting the rumor to past Blueface situations that had nothing to do with this topic. They referenced arguments, old interviews, relationship fights, and past run-ins with the law, treating unrelated information like pieces of evidence.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No, it's not.
That is a weird thing.
It's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully. That's how you understand what a rich.
The internet specializes in connecting dots that aren't connected, weaving whole narratives out of thin air. So even though the ex-convict never presented proof, the public created a whole storyline around the idea that there must be something behind the rumor. That mindset pushed the narrative forward on its own. By week 2, the story wasn't just about a rumor, it had evolved into a talking point about Blueface's entire persona. Commentators questioned his behavior, his decisions, his personality traits, and even how he carried himself online. The rumor turned into a symbol, a shortcut for dragging his reputation without having to discuss facts. Suddenly, Blueface found himself framed by a story he didn't create, told by a man nobody vetted, and repeated by audiences who were more invested in the chaos than the truth. But here's where the situation took another sharp turn. The ex-convict's background started surfacing. People dug into his past interviews, old videos, and past claims about other celebrities. It turned out this wasn't the first time he stirred attention by attaching himself to a big name. He had a pattern of making explosive statements, chasing interviews, and building his own relevance off whoever the internet was currently obsessed with. That discovery didn't stop the rumor, but it did start shifting the tone. Some viewers began calling out inconsistencies, pointing out moments where his timeline didn't match Blueface's incarceration dates, and highlighting the parts of his story that changed from interview to interview. Still, even with cracks forming in his credibility, the damage had already been done. Once a rumor reaches a certain velocity, trying to stop it feels like trying to catch smoke with bare hands. People don't want the truth once the lie entertains them more. Creators kept recycling the claim because it fed views. Comment sections kept pushing it because it fed narratives. And the ex-convict kept expanding the story because the attention boosted his personal platform. Even when he slipped up and contradicted himself, supporters brushed it off as misremembering or speaking in code.
You ain't gay, right? My man. My dog. My young.
The culture also shifted because of how people portray celebrity life. Once someone becomes known for chaos, the public expects every new rumor about them to be messy. That expectation became a weapon in this situation. Instead of asking whether the ex-convict's story made sense, audiences defaulted to, well, Blueface stays in crazy situations, so anything is possible. That mindset gave the rumor longevity, even when other inmates and people familiar with the facility started saying the ex-convict's account didn't match reality. Eventually, critics began calling out the dangerous nature of weaponizing prison narratives for entertainment. They pointed out how prison politics get misrepresented online, how rumors like these feed stereotypes, and how people treat serious environments like content playgrounds. Those discussions brought more eyes to the situation, but they didn't slow it down. In fact, debates only made the rumor stronger because more people joined the conversation. It became a topic you had to address if your platform covered hip-hop, reality TV energy, or celebrity drama. Even those criticizing the rumor were still spreading it. This phenomenon shows how public perception works in the digital age. Truth becomes secondary to virality. Credibility gets replaced by confidence. And once somebody delivers a story with enough swagger, the internet crowns them the narrator of events, regardless of whether the events happened. The ex-convict benefited heavily from this. His follower count grew, his interview bookings increased, and his visibility skyrocketed beyond anything he had before dropping the Blueface rumor. He became a character in the story, and the public loved every moment of watching him speak like an authority figure, even if experts knew better. By the end of that month, the rumor became normalized. Not confirmed, not proven, not supported. Just repeated until familiarity gave it the illusion of truth. Behind the scenes, people close to Blueface grew frustrated, watching the rumor expand unchecked. Even without addressing it publicly, they saw how quickly it influenced public opinion. The narrative painted a distorted picture that went beyond the original claim. That's one of the side effects of internet-driven rumor cycles. The subject doesn't get dragged for the rumor alone. They get dragged for the exaggerated versions that follow. Blueface wasn't just dealing with one story anymore. He was dealing with dozens of mutated versions built on top of each other. Those in the industry understood how damaging unverified prison rumors could be. Once one of those narratives sticks, it becomes a permanent part of how the public interprets a celebrity's life. No matter how loud the truth becomes later, people remember the scandal more than the correction. That's why Blueface's camp stayed cautious. Responding directly would only boost the rumor's visibility. Ignoring it carried its own risks, but feeding it would have been even worse. So the silence continued, which the ex-convict used to his advantage. Every time he was asked why Blueface hadn't responded, he flipped the question into another storyline, using the silence as supposed validation. Meanwhile, bloggers and commentators kept elevating the conversation into something bigger than it actually was. They framed it as a prison expose moment and claimed the ex-convict was fearlessly telling the truth. They painted Blueface as someone hiding from his past, even though the story lacked evidence. The sensational angle became more important than accuracy. This is the algorithmic trap. Content that triggers shock spreads faster than content that provides facts. So instead of dismantling the claim, the internet rewarded the people repeating it. Behind closed doors, legal teams monitored everything. They understood the risk of letting a narrative grow into something defamatory, especially when career reputation and brand deals could be impacted. They also knew that celebrities often avoid lawsuits in these cases because suing elevates the accuser, creating even more attention. The situation had to be handled strategically, so they watched, documented, and waited, evaluating how far the ex-convict would go and whether he would slip into making direct accusations that crossed legal lines. Simultaneously, contracts, partnerships, and public image considerations became part of the conversation. Blueface already carried a chaotic brand. Additional rumors could make companies cautious. Even if a claim wasn't true, the perception alone made corporate spaces nervous. Nobody wants to attach their name to someone surrounded by controversy they can't control. That's the double edge of fame. The audience might enjoy the mess, but businesses don't. By the fourth week, the rumor created an ecosystem of content. Some creators defended Blueface, others mocked him, and others tried playing neutral to farm views. The ex-convict kept stoking the fire, clearly enjoying his newfound relevance. What began as one man telling a story turned into a machine that fed itself. Blueface had become a character in a narrative he didn't participate in, dragged into a storyline he never asked for. The turning point arrived unexpectedly when another individual who served time in the same facility stepped forward, not to defend Blueface, but to expose the ex-convict's inconsistencies. This person didn't care for clout, didn't chase interviews, didn't dramatize anything. He simply stated that the timeline didn't match, the story structure didn't line up, and certain details the ex-convict described were not realistic for the facility they referenced. This was the first credible challenge to the rumor, and it shook the narrative. People began realizing that the ex-convict's version made sense only to those unfamiliar with prison environments. The correction gained traction, though not as fast as the rumor did. Still, the internet doesn't turn back easily. Even when confronted with contradictions, some viewers insisted the rumor felt true. That's the paradox of viral narratives. Once the public emotionally invests in a storyline, facts don't carry the same impact. Disproving a rumor doesn't erase it. It only creates another layer of debate. Content creators started comparing both sides, dropping fact-checked videos and analyzing the credibility of each speaker. These discussions added more visibility, meaning even people who missed the original rumor were now getting pulled into the conversation. The ex-convict tried defending himself, but his responses became increasingly vague. Instead of offering proof or clarity, he leaned harder into coded language and emotional delivery. This shift exposed his lack of consistency. The more he spoke, the more contradictions surfaced. But even then, his core supporters rode with him, claiming he was protecting people involved or speaking carefully because of politics. They treated his evasiveness like evidence instead of a red flag. At the same time, the broader conversation evolved into a critique of how easily lies spread when directed at public figures who already have polarizing reputations. Blueface had been involved in so many controversies that audiences began assuming he was capable of anything, regardless of how unrealistic the rumor sounded. His image as a wild, unpredictable figure made him an easy target for narratives that flipped his persona inside out. This moment highlighted the dangerous relationship between celebrity culture and digital rumor economies. When the public dislikes or misunderstands an artist, they stop giving them the benefit of doubt. Rumors become entertainment. Mockery becomes content. Empathy disappears. Blueface's situation revealed how quickly a false narrative can overshadow someone's actual life, legal battles, and personal struggles. Even after the rumor was publicly debunked by individuals with real knowledge, it still lingered. Repetition made it part of the cultural memory surrounding Blueface. It became one of those stories people heard once but don't know the source of. That kind of lingering perception is hard to shake, and it follows a celebrity for years, resurfacing whenever new controversies arise. By now, it was clear the ex-convict didn't expect the story to get this big. He expected attention, but not a full cultural explosion. And once it hit that level, he couldn't control it anymore. The rumor had become bigger than him, bigger than Blueface, and bigger than any correction could undo. As the dust began settling, the narrative shifted from the rumor itself to the lesson behind it. People started recognizing how quickly a story can be weaponized, especially when the subject is someone who already lives under a spotlight saturated with controversy. Blueface became a prime example of how public figures get stripped of nuance. The internet forgets they're real people dealing with real pressures. When a sensational rumor hits, nobody pauses to verify, nobody checks sources, and nobody considers the long-term impact. The culture eats the headline, not the truth. Yet interestingly, this situation also pushed conversations about digital responsibility. It reminded viewers and creators how vital it is to avoid amplifying unverified prison-related stories, especially when they carry stigmas that can damage reputations permanently. Some analysts broke down how rumors like this one weaponize coded language to create false legitimacy. Others explained how clout-chasing behaviors often mimic insider authority, even when the storyteller has no real connection to the narrative. These discussions help shift the culture slightly, giving audiences more tools to spot manipulation when it surfaces. Through all of this, Blueface's team maintained silence, which ended up being the smartest strategic move. They let the rumor burn itself out. They watched the inconsistencies collapse under scrutiny. And once the rumor lost its shock value, people moved on to other storylines, proving that the internet's attention span never lingers on one scandal forever. The ex-convict, once at the center of a viral storm, quickly faded back into obscurity once his story stopped delivering new entertainment value. But the deeper story here isn't about Blueface or the ex-convict. It's about the machinery of digital rumor culture. It's about how the public consumes narratives with no filter. It's about how people project stereotypes onto celebrities, shaping their own fictional versions of events. And it's about how easily a single unverified claim can hijack the conversation for weeks. The rumor wasn't real, but the consequences were. Blueface's reputation took hits. His name trended for the wrong reasons, and he became another example of how dangerous viral storytelling can be. In the end, the story stands as a warning to audiences, creators, and anyone navigating the entertainment world. Rumors travel faster than reality, louder than evidence, and deeper than intention. One person with a platform, even a small one, can shift public perception overnight. It only takes a spark, and this ex-convict provided one that burned across the internet with impressive speed. But eventually, all flames die down, leaving behind the reminder that credibility matters, truth matters, and playing with someone's name for entertainment comes with consequences. As the culture moves forward, this saga stays in the archive as one of those moments where digital storytelling outpaced actual facts. And just like that, another viral storm ends, replaced by the next controversy, waiting to dominate the timeline. Until then, make sure to like and subscribe to stay updated with every new chapter the industry brings.